when the handicapped daughter learns to walk with God. She was the handicapped one, born with cerebral palsy, braces on her legs before she could form full sentences, crutches before she ever truly knew how to stand, a wheelchair before she could find her footing in the world. From the outside looking in, it was a quiet life, a little girl with a physical difference being raised by adoptive parents who didn't quite know what to do with her, but tried to love her the best way they knew how. Their love language was protection. It was wise words, comfort, and gifts, toys she didn't ask for, things to make her smile. But deep down, she wasn't smiling, because even as a child, she knew something was different. She was different, and she didn't like it. She wasn't having it. No, she didn't want the braces. No, she didn't want the crutches. No, she didn't want the wheelchair. She didn't want to be stared at, pitied, or protected like porcelain. And yet, she was still a child, learning to live in a world that can be painfully cold and devastatingly cruel. Her parents, in all their best efforts, were afraid for her. They were terrified of how the world would treat her. And in that fear, they hovered, they guarded, they poured out what they could. But she still didn't feel free, so she adapted. She figured if she could just be good enough, maybe she could still be loved. She learned to people please. Her mother was the example, nurturing, compliant, soft-spoken, and loyal to her husband. She watched her mother serve, love, and always try to keep the peace. And so, believing it would earn her love too, she copied it. She mimicked the behavior. She silenced her own needs. She poured into others. She showed up even when it hurt. She smiled even when it stung. But Lord have mercy, the world wasn't as kind as her imagination, because when she grew up, reality hit different. People didn't love her because she gave her all. They used her. They applauded her loyalty only when it benefited them. They honored her presence when it served their agenda. And she began to realize that this thing she was searching for, acceptance, respect, unconditional love, wasn't going to come from the same people she kept bending over backward to please. She was still searching, still yearning, still aching to be seen, without the pity, still hoping to be valued, without the conditions. But then she found Jesus, not religion, not performance, not more people to please. She found him, the answer, and everything changed. Jesus didn't just save her from sin, he saved her from herself, from the crippling thoughts that told her she was a burden, from the lies that whispered she'd never be enough, from the exhausting chase to be accepted by people who were never meant to validate her. He broke that mindset. He shattered the belief that she had to earn love through sacrifice or buy respect through silence. And slowly, patiently, he began to show her who she really was, fearfully and wonderfully made, not faulty, not forgotten, not flawed beyond use, but hand-designed by the Creator, with intention, beauty, and purpose. She began to honor the body he gave her, not because it was easy, not because the world suddenly became kind, but because Jesus loved her as she was, and he wasn't asking her to be anyone else. She stopped striving to be enough, and started believing she already was. She stopped begging for crumbs, and sat at the table her Father prepared for her. She learned to enjoy his love, to rest in his arms, to smile, not to earn anything, but because joy finally lived inside her. She learned that pleasing people was never the path to peace, but pleasing him, that brought healing, that brought wholeness, that brought freedom. And she started walking, not just physically, but spiritually. She walked in strength, she walked in joy, she walked in purpose, she walked in victory. The braces may have come off, but the real breakthrough was when the bondage to people-pleasing broke off her spirit. Because now, she walks with God, not for applause, not for pity, not for permission. She walks because she's free. There's a moment in Scripture that always brings her to tears. It's the story of the bent-over woman in Luke 13, 18 years, bent, crippled, overlooked, until Jesus called her forward. He didn't walk past her. He didn't wait for her to prove her worth. He saw her, and in front of the very ones who had grown used to ignoring her, he said, "Woman, thou art loosed." He laid his hands on her, and immediately she stood up straight. She had walked through life bowed down by pain, shame, and limitation. But in the presence of Jesus, she was lifted, body, soul, and spirit. And she knows that moment well, because spiritually, that was her too. She was the bent one, the overlooked one, the girl no one expected to rise. But Jesus saw her, and when he called her name, she answered. She didn't just get up, she learned to walk. Walk in grace, walk in strength.